Welcome back to MidPoint, everybody. Once again, let's welcome back from the 27th Congressional District in Texas, Republican Blake Farenthold joins us once again. Congressman, before we left, I was just about ready to ask you this, and we were almost getting there, but I wanted to make sure we followed this up. With regard to executive action, there is so much talk about filing a lawsuit against the president. There's at least two groups that don't even want to touch that lawsuit for fear of what it might do to their law firms at this point. Shouldn't the Republicans just drop that at this point? Hasn't that become something that's not a winner no matter how you look at it?
I think we've got a battle between the two branches of government that needs to be resolved in the courts. I think somebody needs to say how much the president needs to follow the law. I think that that's an intermediate step before going on to more extreme remedy.
Do you think, though, it would really get anything done?
Well, unfortunately, the federal court system is so slow, and the Obama administration are masters at running out the clock. So I'd imagine they'd stall and delay, and we wouldn't get anything done over the 2-year period, unfortunately.
We've talked a little bit about immigration. I wanted to ask from your constituency and the people there. We are told many times that a good portion of the Hispanic American community says, quite frankly, if this immigration bill doesn't pass, we're not going to vote Republican come 2016. We'll make Republicans pay. But then again, we hear from people such as yourself who have Hispanic Americans in their constituency that, wait a minute, we live here, we're citizens, we agree that something needs to be done and something needs to be a little more stringent than what the president wants. Where's the truth?
That's what I hear. Texas, we had a very strong Hispanic support for the Republican ticket, and I think the message from that is, look, we waited in line, or our parents waited in line, or our grandparents waited in line. Why should other folks jump to the head of the line?
I want to now move on to Obamacare. It's going to be very difficult to undo Obamacare at this point. The president is determined. He is going to continue. What now is this Congress prepared to do in order to get to the Affordable Health Care Act? Because there still seems to be a national groundswell that people are not happy with what they've got.
And it's going to get worse as we go back into the enrollment period and people see their rates come up in some of the states that have had delayed implementation start to see it. I think we should, in short order, pass a complete repeal of Obamacare, which he will veto, and then we need to start chomping away at the pieces that the president will sign. I think there's some hope on making some changes with the individual mandate. I think we have an ability to get the medical device tax repealed. I think done properly, we can nip away at the edges of it, mitigate the damage until we're able to implement good health care reform that puts control back in the hands of doctors and patients and gets the costs down.
Do you think, though, the Obama administration will just delay and stall as much as they can to push this right into 2016 as well and make sure that it becomes a presidential discourse again?
I think there's no reason to believe otherwise. That is their modus operandi, is to stonewall.
Congressman, a couple of things here now as far as Republicans moving forward. Sometimes it doesn't make a difference whether you're left or you're right. Politicians make mistakes, and sometimes they say things, sometimes they shoot themselves right in the foot, many times it's in the mouth, and there have been a lot of instances where on the right, Republicans have done this over the last couple of years. It would seem in this midterm election, the Republicans finally had it all together. It seemed as if they knew what their message was, they were solid, and they got it across. Is there any fear whatsoever that it'll fall back to the way it was? You've still got to keep it together, and you've got to keep everybody happy to 2016, or else you're going to face another problem in 2 years.
Well, I think in this election, we had the benefit of our opponents committing suicide, so we didn't have to kill them. But I think we're going to have to show for 2016 that we do have an alternative plan, that we have a better plan, and that we're not just the opposition. We're the party with the ideas that are going to work and make it easier for folks to realize the American dream, make everybody's life better.
I got about 45 seconds left. Is there a fear that the left, the Democrats and the Obama administration will set a trap for the Republicans that you got to make sure you don't step into between here and 2016 and make sure that the tide does not turn against you?
Politics is a tough business. It's chess, not checkers. You've got to think a couple of moves ahead, and we've got to use our heads and think through what we do. But we've also got to follow the mandate of the folks that put us in office in a historic numbers.
Are Republicans better chess players than Democrats?
Well, it's tough when you've got the media cheering for the other side. It sometimes gets a little bit distracting when you turn on the TV every night and you hear them cheerleading for the Democrats.
Well, I'll tell you what, right here, as far as we're concerned, we'll give you a fair playing board every time. How's that?
Well, I appreciate it. That's why I follow you guys online all the time.
Outstanding. Congressman, thanks so much for being here. We'll talk again.
Thanks.
All right, take care. Breaking back here on MidPoint with some more answers regarding where we go from here on Obamacare and what can be salvaged moving forward with the new Congress. And at 51 minutes after the hour, we head for Outland and the power of a pet rodent. That and much more on MidPoint.